Hello everyone. So today I want to basically give you an update. This will be a short video, not like my other videos on this channel that you are probably following. So I used to maintain a blog long back, around 13 years ago. There was a blog that I started with my friend Vinod called Linux India with Y.com. And this particular blog is something that I didn't really update for a very long time. And this is one blog which is very close to me because this is the very first domain that I bought, that I purchased. This is not really the very first site I made, but this is certainly one of the first site I made in Drupal. Now, this particular project, this particular blog, let me tell you the purpose. I can probably open the About Us page as you are uh, listening to me. Now, 13 or around 14 years ago, I started this blog with the intention to basically help others in adopting Linux operating system. And I basically wanted to promote Linux in India, or I should say, someone who is looking for maybe learning or adopting Linux, maybe for their work, maybe for their studies, or for whatever reason. Maybe people want to use, or they can use, I think, use Linux as their main operating system. Now, this blog is something that I'm now thinking of revamping and restarting again. Now, this time I will not be using Drupal. I will be using org mode. Now, on my channel, on this channel, I have made a lot of videos where I talked about using org mode in Emacs to basically publish a blog. And I have made a video on this topic, not just one video, few videos on this topic. I have made a blog post, a very big blog post on my site called ravi.pro. So if you go to this site, ravi.pro, you can go to the blog section, and then you can open this link called blogging with Emacs and org mode. Now, there are a few things that I really like to use. For example, I like using Emacs, I like using org mode, I like working on Linux, I like using Linux. I quite like open source projects in general. And that is one reason why I wanted to basically collect everything at one place. Now, I do have my main blog, ravisaga.in, which is, of course, in Drupal. And I don't really have any plans to discontinue using Drupal. I will continue using Drupal. Drupal is something great for managing sites with proper content, with, of course, the way you can categorize your content. And of course, you can do a lot of wonderful things with Drupal. But I basically use org mode for keeping my notes every day. I use org mode for planning. And what I wanted to do is I basically wanted to share the things, or rather, I should say, the notes that I'm taking very quickly without worrying too much about publishing on my Drupal website. So, what I do now, I of course use org mode on my local computer, and I simply publish it using this org mode in Emacs. And for publishing this, I am using some configurations in my .emacs file that I think I showed in my video. But if you want to, of course, do the same thing, you can basically copy this code here. I will show you the blog post. So if you go to this particular blog post, you can take a look at. I mean, first of all, you can read this particular blog post from the beginning, and I highly recommend you to do that. I'm talking about Emacs fundamentals, and the focus of this blog, or the majority of the blog, is talking about publishing a website. And I am sharing my Emacs or snippet of the .emacs file which is doing the actual publishing. So you can actually copy and paste the code if you want, and you can also basically do the same thing if you want to use org mode and Emacs. Now talking about Linux India. Now my plan is to use Emacs and org mode to recreate this blog in simple plain text files, and org mode Emacs is the best uh, tool or best set of tools that I can think of, and I also prefer that because I can let us say if I'm doing something on my local computer, I want to maybe share maybe a simple command or something that I've just found, or anything that I feel like sharing. I can simply convert my note into a blog post within few, not seconds, but definitely in minutes. And I've talked about it. And the way I do it, I of course write my content on my computer, local computer. I basically use this folder here, where not this folder. I'll show you my folder where I'm basically yeah, this is the folder. So there is a folder called Ravi.pro, and if you go to the blog folder here within this Ravi.pro folder, I'm keeping a note of all the org files. So if I open, let us say, one of the org file, one of the file that I want to use for maybe writing any content, or maybe if this is something that I want to share, I'll write it in my local computer, and let me just show it to you very quickly. So this is my blog post, and of course I can use the familiar formatting of org mode, and it is really wonderful. I can also share snippets, code snippets within my org files, and if you want, you can also do literate programming. So I'm also writing a book on Groovy, which I am still writing. It is not really published. I will probably publish the first version of the book when I have something ready. But in that particular book, I am sharing snippets of codes that I can just keep in my file, in my org file, in my document. I don't need to worry about checking the output of the code. I can simply do that by evaluating the code within my document, and that is really wonderful. So I have talked about literate programming. If you want to also do the same thing using Emacs and org mode, you can do that. Now, whenever I write a blog post, I simply use uh, a command called org publish, and I'm basically using this control U and meta X shortcut, and when I do org publish, it will basically publish all the files, all the org files, but I can also selectively publish just one file. And once I do that, it will basically create a folder which is already there. It will basically update that folder called, there's a folder in my local computer called Ravi.pro with the same name, just so that I can easily figure out that this particular folder is for my Ravi.pro blog. So this is the configuration where you can see that the base directory is within my org mode. I mean, this is the directory where I keep my org files, and this is my publishing directory, which is under my projects folder called Ravi.pro. So whenever I write a new blog, I publish it here. And after I do that, after I basically create a new blog, there will be a new file in that particular folder, maybe with an entry in the index of blog. For example, this blog here, if I go back to the blog link, like blog.html, this is the index of all the blogs. Now, this folder is updated whenever I write a new blog, and this is of course saved in my, or rather it is basically version controlled on GitLab. And when I go to my GitLab, I can show you very quickly. I use the CI/CD pipeline to also deploy it and publish it on the domain. So if I write a new blog, I can so there's a, for example, let's just do it for you very quickly. So there is a blog called Mastering Excel VBA. Now if I go to my let us do a quick demo. So I'll probably make a change here, like so I'll write here. I hope you enjoyed this blog. A simple change, a simple change. I can now publish it. Not publish it, but yeah, I can publish it. I can maybe force publish everything, and once I do that, I need to specify the project name, which is nothing but website. But of course, when I create a new blog for Linux India, I'll name it as Linux India website, something different from just website. So I know that I'm publishing to that particular domain. Now it will, of course, do some magic. It will basically generate all the files. And what I can do now, I can, oh, let us wait for it to finish. Now this is now done. Now I can go to my folder where I am keeping my published website with the HTML files. Now, if I do a git status, um, okay, so we have some changes, and I'll simply commit everything, and I'll go to. By the way, before I commit this and push it, new changes to my blog, and I'll now push it to my repository, and this is my repository, which is linked to the ravi.pro domain, and I can show you the CI/CD pipeline here. Now, right now, there is nothing running. It says the last uh, deployment was successful, but and I can also run it manually if I want. But I can before I actually push the code, I want to also show you the file where there is a where you can see the CI/CD configuration, and it is very easy to do in it is very easy to do on GitLab. They have templates. So there is a file called let me just increase the size, GitLab -ci .yml. Now it's a simple configuration where basically I can commit, and whenever there is a new commit, the changes will be published in a folder called public. And although this particular configuration is very simple, but when you go to your when you go to GitLab and you create a new file called GitLab -ci.yml, or maybe there is no file, you can actually create this file automatically by selecting a template. Now let us go back to the CI/CD pipelines and let us commit the code and push it. We have already committed it, so let me push it, and I'm just pushing it to master because if you look at the, let me just open it in a new tab so it is convenient. So if you look at the configuration here, so it is looking at the master branch. Now let me just sorry. So I'll just monitor the pipeline when I'm pushing. So I've just pushed it to my GitLab repository, and if I refresh this, oh, you can already see there's no need to refresh. It says running, and it will be, of course, now it is now doing the job. It is now basically generating. I mean, it is basically now looking for the changes, new changes, and we do have changes, and it will now also deploy the the newly generated file. And now you can see here that we have something happening, pulling Docker image, Ruby, blah blah blah. I mean, you don't need to worry about it, but of course you can monitor what is happening, because this will give you the idea about what exactly is happening in the background. So now you can see that it is now it has now moved the files to public, and it says uploading artifacts for successful job, and it should be done now. Now we can actually go back to our blog, and let us take a look at this blog post here. If I do a refresh, we added a new line. Let us see, let us see this new line. So we have a new line here. I knew it will work, but I just wanted to show you how it can be done so easily using org mode and of course Emacs. And also, not only this, of course, you can do a lot of other things, a lot of wonderful things if you want. The plan, as I just mentioned, is basically to recreate this site, linuxindia.com, on, uh, I mean, it will be, the site will be now moved from Drupal to org mode, and I will basically manage it using org mode, but I will use a GitLab. And I've already done some setup here. So there is a domain which is linuxindia.gitlab.io. It is, of course, nothing but a simple text file, but I will, of course, replace it with the newly uh, generated file, new files that I will be using, that I will be generating and publishing using the org mode. And I will also use my domain, the actual domain, linuxindia.com. So right now, what I'm doing, I'm moving all the old blog post from linuxindia.com to this local org mode uh, on my computer, and then I will publish it. So this is the small update that I wanted to give you, and I hope you are enjoying my recent blog post that I have been creating. Uh, and of course, my focus, my channel's focus is definitely on learning new things that I want to share with all of you guys. So let us end this video, and let us end this video for today, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow with a new topic and a few more updates. Bye bye.